It is a new month of December, and this week starts off some of you's journey into 2025. Now, what a year it has been! An absolutely amazing ending. It has been back and forth whiplashing, and I want to give a game plan for this week, especially for those that are trading for this full week, since we are now coming off of the Thanksgiving break into a new month, and also how we may finish off. Now, I won't go through the Santa Claus rally that I talked about in my last video, so make sure to go check out that video around what that week leading up into the Christmas holiday looks like, okay? So what my objective is for this video is give some levels on SPY, QQQ, IWM, also the futures market, as well as give us a couple of tickers and a sentiment in some of the companies about where they may move this week. We'll also go over some of the economic data that is going to be on the horizon for this week and next week, so you can keep that head on a swivel, right? So make sure that you are trading safe, keeping those stop losses tight, end off the year positively, and get ready, to be honest with you, get ready for that bullish run that could come into this new inauguration, into this new year, this new potential economy. So if there's anything that's on sale right now for your favorite companies, we'll definitely go over those, but make sure you're picking up the dip if you have done your due diligence. All right. So all that being said, welcome to the channel. My name is Dr. B. I'm a holistic life and business coach and strategist for entrepreneurs and thought leaders. I'm also an investor, options trader, and then former pharmacist, undergrad in chemistry, matriculated my last 8 years in full-time entrepreneurship, primarily in the coaching and consulting space. So thank you all so much for the kind words and the support on this channel. If you do get that professor, teacher, coach vibe, that's what I do, right? So if you look on my other socials, you'll see life coach as the primary. And then I have these skill sets that I'm able to communicate effectively to people on the back end. All right. So if you're down for that, if you're about a holistic community, a holistic way of being and purpose-driven life and understanding this skill set of trading, we take that all into account. This is emotional skill set for a lot of folks, and it's involving money, right? So we've got to make sure that we're having a skill along with having our mind right. All right. So all that being said, let's jump into today's value. And as always, if people want to know, do I have a community or coaching or any kind of information to go further from these YouTube videos? Yes, we do. All right. You can join our community. That just gives you some chats, right? If you've been in other Discords or maybe this is your first time, right? You're able to be in the chats with us. If you can see here, those are our club rooms. All right. So our club rooms right here where we have our stocks chat, sports, fitness, e-commerce, watches, business, personal finance, credit, right? So you have all those chats for you to be able to do it $5 a week, right? So $30 a month, $1 a day, essentially. All right. So we'd love to have you just a part of the community. That is the best way to start. However, if you're like, Ryan, I don't need no other community. I need the game. I need the actual strategies, the trade ideas, the things that are going to be happening. I need some live trading. I need to see you trade. I want to learn. I want to be able to ask questions. Cool. Then you want to join one of these university levels. So these two, all of the difference is you get to jump into live trading with me. And I am trading live, not just giving signals, right? I know a lot of people are hesitant around just signals and telling people, no, I teach, right? So hopefully you're learning from this YouTube channel that you are being educated on how this skill set works. So that when you hear me talking or you're in other Discords or other things, right, you understand the lingo, right? You understand the language so you can begin fishing for yourselves. All right, our mentorship, and then we do have our stock trading boot camp that's coming up this week at the time of this recording. So we'd love to have you inside of any of our community and get started here. All right, so let's jump into the economic calendar. Move me over here. So this is called fundamental analysis, as I like to say. All right, we have fundamental analysis, we have technical analysis. Fundamental is all the news, all the reports, everything that we have that affects how the market reacts. Okay, so this week we have our PMI, ISM. Now, if you're new to this, right, I know I have a lot of developing and beginner investors in the market, and maybe you've never seen some of this stuff or paid attention, right? These are reports that allow the Fed to make decisions on whether to hike rates, pause rates, or we have the ability to cut rates, right? So based off these data points each week, they're adding up to a point of how our economy is going to move forward. And each of these data reports affects how the market reacts, right, on the charts. So PMI, if you're new, any type of 10 a.m. data Eastern or 8:30 data Eastern, right, those data points typically are primarily important. So if you see any type of 10 a.m. data, just know that that is going to affect the market in some type of way, all right? So you see here on Friday, we have a lot of 8:30 data. So an hour before the market opens. Jobless claims, very important here. This week is going to be very important for our labor market, right? How are our jobs doing? How are people filing for more employment? Are they doing okay? What's happening with jobs? That has been the key indicator in whether the Fed is going to cut, pause, or hike rates. And it's a part of this kind of recessionary blueprint that's coming into play, right? Are we heading into recession? Are we already there? Is it going to get more drastic? Things of that nature, right? So I think it's going to, personally, this is my belief, that the true numbers have not even come out yet, okay? Because we have hurricane relief. There's a lot of jobs that have been lost that haven't been reported just yet. So I do believe we have a couple more reports that are on the docket, all right? So in the next couple of weeks, we will have the Fed step in to say, are they cutting, pausing, hiking? And right now, if you heard from Fed Powell, go listen to that video where it has Fed Powell on there. If you've never seen him before, it has a thumbnail. You can go look at that video and hear my sentiment. But he did state that there's maybe going to be a pause. There may not be another rate cut at the end of this year, and maybe, just easing into the new year and then start cutting again. All right. So that could be effective for the market. All right. So I would say that Monday, personally, there may be some volume, right? Some volume and volatility a little bit. Tuesday, maybe a little bit light there carrying over from Monday. And then personally, I think it's going to be a pretty decent week of trading, right? The 8:30 data going to be pretty good for unemployment rate. That's going to be big. So I think Friday could be really nice. All right, cool. Let's jump into our charts. And I'm going to give some SPY levels. Okay. Now, one thing I want to note here, and you can draw this on your charts as well. Okay. And if you use Robinhood, great. Go. Thank y'all so much for the support on the Robinhood Legend platform. Go check out that video as well. If you are on Robinhood, I do trade on Robinhood as well. A lot of my community members. So SPY, you want to have this nice overarching trend line on the top here. Okay. So we're trending up in this channel. Okay. Now I have a measured move up to around 610 for SPY. Okay. So if we move up to 610 this week, I think that's going to be personally that nice measured move, meaning we have a measured move from here, this breakout, and then we measure it over here to this last pullback, and that will give us our measured move up to about 610. Okay. So that is my level for SPY since it is now broken above. So that's the bull case. As long as we remain above 600, I like 601 a little bit better. As long as we remain above 600 and 601, we have the possibility to push in through 605 and then push into 610. Okay, so watch that we are still bullish, and we have about another 5 to 7 points on the SPY to move up to that 610. Okay, now, Brian, what happens if that doesn't work, right? Like, what if I jump into calls or I think it's going up and it just turns around really quick? Okay, you want to watch that it holds up a higher low here, potentially around 599. This could be a liquidity grab, as we call it. Okay. And it could be a fake out, and then we recover. Okay. So this is a possibility here that you want to see it break down below 600, hold this maybe 599 level, and we could wick back up and then continue. Okay. That could be a shakeout really quick. Now, if we have a big break of this trend and we start getting down to 597, we may look to see if it wants to retest 600 like that. And then we form a lower high and then continue. Okay. Trading is around reacting, right? Just because you see a green candle for my newbies, it does not mean just hop into calls. That just tells you that it is strong and you want to trade in that direction. But we can have a green candle, and that green candle can turn very quickly into a red candle, very similar to this. This used to be a green candle right here, pushed up to 567, retraced all the way back down to 559. Okay. So just be mindful. Don't just hop into things just because as you're learning this skill, right? But as long as we're above this level, you want to take pullbacks, right, into a call position if you're trading options. Okay. So I've just zoomed into a 15-minute so you can get a better look at it. So just say this pulls back like this, like it's doing now. We had a little bit of selling at the end of the day. It pulls back in the morning or pre-market. Okay. And we get a candle like that. You want to watch for this to hold. Okay. You really don't want to see something like that. Okay. So you want to watch for this to hold. Okay. Or either push down, fill this gap, and then reclaim it and get back above there. Okay. So that's ultimately what you want to see. Let me pull this here so you can get another visual. Okay. Now, a lot of questions that I get is like, Brian, what time frame should I be looking for that to happen? Okay. I personally, if you're intraday trading, like you're in the market, day trading, you're trying to find your entries, I like to have 15 and 30-minute confirmations. So 30-minute would be a better confirmation, meaning when this candle, opens up in the morning and the first 30-minute candle comes down, you want to wait for those first 30 minutes for that candle to close and then see how the next 30-minute candle opens up. Okay. So if you're new or you're on Robinhood, I understand maybe you're not acclimated to the candles yet, right? Just wait those 15 to 30-minute time frames for your entries. Okay. That'll give you a little bit more confirmation. All right, we good? So watch for 600, maybe just wait if it breaks down below 600 just to see if that confirms it is coming lower, right? There may be some data that prolongs it, but ultimately we're going to pull back just a little bit, in my opinion, and then we can ramp up. All right. Now, a bull case would be this as well. Just break above the highs. Okay. So if you get a break into new highs, typically when we're in uncharted territory, like SPY has broken out into new all-time highs, if you get a break above the high, you can take it up to that next level, which is about 605 and then 606. Okay. So you can take that trade right there, right, upwards. Okay. So just know that shorting up here, trying to time the top, I really wouldn't try to time the top unless we got to close to 610 personally. All right. Or we break back below 600 and we give it up. We give everything back up, which we've seen before. Okay. So that's SPY. All right. QQQ looks a little bit different. Okay. It's being dragged down by the semiconductor sector with NVIDIA, AMD, AVGO, Qualcomm. Like the semiconductor sector is just dragging the NASDAQ or QQQ down. Okay. The tech fund. All right. But do you see here? Well, Brian, it's going up. Why is you saying it's dragging it? Because it hasn't reached back to 515 like SPY has taken out its high of 600. So do you see how it's lagging behind right here? Okay. So what you want to see is you want to see ultimately either a break above 512. Okay. Break above 512. You can take it up to 515. Okay. That is your safer bullish trade, in my opinion, will be break above 512 and then take it up to 515. And then you can hold a runner to see if it breaks out. Okay. If the market's strong. Now, this could be another rejection point. So you want to be very careful around this 511 to 512 mark. Right? I told my community, if y'all listen to my videos regularly, I signaled inside of my Discord to my community that we wanted to take puts right on the 25th, right around this 511, 512, ultimately 510 rejection, right in this zone, because it's a previous low that's now turned into a resistance. Okay. So watch out for this coming into tomorrow. And you already kind of see on a 30-minute that we're getting some top wicks. Top wicks, again, reminder, means heavier selling pressure coming in. There's sellers or people taking their profits. They're trimming, right? It was pushed up, came all the way back down, right? That is technically what we call a bull trap. People get caught chasing. They don't know that the resistance is up here. And then they get into calls, chase, and then they don't wait for the breakout and get slammed right back down. Then the drastic selling comes back up, slam back down, right? Comes back up, watch this level to come right back down again. So we might be potentially in this channel right here. Okay. 501 to 510. Okay. 501 to about 510. Okay. So trade that channel. In the middle of the channel, you have a little bit of support right around this 506 area. Okay. 506. This is where we broke out and we gapped up, and then we had some resistance step in around 506. So if I were you, I would trade the top end of the channel, and I would trade the middle of the channel and then the bottom of the channel. Okay. So you can trade from here if we get rejections, 5, 510, 511. Let me mark this high because it may not even reach back up there again. It may reject early. If we come down, take it back to 506. Okay, take your profit. Maybe leave a runner down into this 505, but just trade level to level to level. Okay, so here we go. IWM, very interesting here on IWM. We've been trading some puts off of IWM just because it's been in this resistance zone. And we also have on the RSI a little bit of overextension. Right, you see up in this range here, a little bit of overextension around this 240, 244 range, and it's coming back down. Okay, so a little bit of overextension, a little bit too many cooks in the kitchen. Okay, so if you did not go listen to my indicators video, make sure you go check that out about RSI and essentially what I'm trading off of when I'm looking at how did you know to enter puts right there when it's so strong. Okay, so this candle is signaling to me that there's a little bit of selling pressure continuously. You see, we're forming lower highs, but ultimately we're also forming higher lows. So we got to break out of this channel. So I actually like how IWM's forming if it can break one way or the other. If we can break out of this channel, I would say ultimately underneath this 241, then we maybe could get that selling pressure coming back down into this 238, 239 range. And it would look something like that. Okay, so watch that break of IWM. It could happen early, or if we fill that gap, we could break up if the market gets strong. Right, so just watch the strength there one way or the other. Okay, so that can happen too. All right, we come down, hold this level at 240, bounce right back up and take it right back to 244. All right, IWM and the small caps have been very, very strong as of late, but it's been running pretty much all November, right? So it might want to have a little bit of a cool off, a little bit of profit taking potentially, depending on how the first week of December pans out. All right. So let's go into DIA. Look at this strong candle on DIA, the DIA stocks. I think we have a lot higher on the market in general, but it's just where that pullback is going to be to find a proper entry to take it longer. Okay. I told you guys and ladies that I do like dip buys leading into the new year, depending on how the inflation data comes in. I would love this pullback here on DIA. I would love this pullback here on DIA. So 243, 242. Okay. So those two levels right there will be pullbacks. And if you're still new and not understanding, what do you mean pullbacks, Brian? When it pulls back in a bull market and then when it's strong, you want to look at calls if you're trading options. Okay. If you're just buying shares and whatnot, just dollar cost average. If you're a share buyer or equity trader, meaning you're trading the shares. Okay. I'm talking about pullback longs, pullback calls. Okay. So that is what I mean. All right. That is the benefit of joining the community and also working with myself 101 is understanding the lingo so you understand these market analyses a little bit better, especially for those that are trading on their own. Okay. All right. Let me go through a couple more and I'll let you all be. What I do like to do as well after I've looked at the indices is I like to look at how the futures market's doing. Right. You can kind of see that it's red. Right. So the futures, the projected future price of spot or of the overall S&P, the NASDAQ, the small caps, and also the US 30 or the Dow Jones. Okay. So if I see these red like this, that means it's telling me potentially tomorrow we could have some selling early. Okay. Some selling pressure early, some profit taking early tomorrow if this selling pressure continues throughout the evening into tomorrow. The next thing I like to look at is I like to look at some of obviously our magnificent seven, right? The Apples and NVIDIAs, the Googles, and see if they're in support or they in resistance. Okay. So first of all, let me look at NVIDIA. Okay. And I can see here that NVIDIA broke this trend. Okay. So when you have a break of trend, it typically tries to retest that trend and then come back down lower. Okay. So this is what I was talking about by the semiconductors being slightly weak. Okay. So if I see NVIDIA, what did it do last time? It got to this level of 139. rejection, rejection. You see those long wicks there? Those are sellers. Previous support turned into resistance. Okay. Previous support turned into resistance. So it broke that support, couldn't hold it, came down lower, found the next support, came back up, and is still forming. Personally, what I'm looking at is it's weak in the short term. Okay. So what I would like to see is I would like to see NVIDIA personally double bottom or form a higher low on this trend line. Okay. So if it can come back to around 235 and show me that it can hold up this 235, it would look something like this, come down. Right. It would look like that. Oops. Hopefully this is helping. Give me a like and subscribe if this is helping. Doesn't take but 2 seconds if this is really giving you a visual of what to look for. Okay. You see this? If it comes down here, fills that gap, there is a little bit of support right here at about 235. Okay. So that means that it could look like this. It could come down and you think it's selling all the way here, find a support and bounce all the way back up. Okay. So that is what you want to look out for in NVIDIA if it still holds this trend line back up. Okay. So something to look out for, because this is where you get that, as we call it now, a bear trap, right? Bear trap, meaning you think it's coming lower and then it holds up and then it rips back up. Okay. So just something to look out for. We have found support, but we have broken trend. Okay. So a short term weak, long term still strong. All right. So that gives me a clue. Okay. NVIDIA is still weak. So it has to show some strength for SPY to continue, QQQ to continue on the upside. Now, Google, same thing. What is Google looking like? Well, Google kind of finished on a 4-hour pretty strong right here, right? You see these buyers kind of stepped in at the end of the day for Google to potentially do something like this, right? I'll show you what that looks like on Amazon. You see how Amazon came up, held that 200, and then pushed up. Doesn't that look very similar to Google? Came up, held, support, can push up. Okay. So that's another clue. Okay. Maybe I need to, be a little bit more patient, because if all these tech names get strong, kind of out of nowhere, right? They've been weak, but get strong again, recover, then I do not want to be shorting QQQ. I do not want to be shorting or puts on SPY. Okay. Same thing with Apple. Now, Apple has broken out to new all-time highs, but if it cannot hold up here, right, if it rejects and comes back down underneath that 237, right, these levels, if it can't hold above these wicks, then it's going to come right back to about 233. So that's what I'm saying, that the selling can come in a little bit if there's congruency with a lot of these stocks. Okay. Microsoft had a really nice recovery, really strong here. Nice recovery. But again, is it, or are we still forming a little bit of lower highs? Look on these bigger time frames, on these 2 hours, these 4 hours, and you start to look here that it is still forming a lower high. It still may not want to break out just yet. Okay. So nice support, recovery. And does Microsoft want to come back down and retest? Okay. Then rip up. Okay. So always, in my opinion, look at the higher time frames that we're still strong, the dailies, the weeklies, right? And you can get a better view about what's going on. Look at Microsoft, right? It is still strong short term, or excuse me, on the bigger time frame, right? Still forming higher lows, pumping up, having really good news data, things like that. But it's got to really break above that 430 again. You can see that top wick there starting to get some selling coming in, and it could easily roll over like this to come back down to 412 or even 406. Now, if it breaks above 430, then we're going back to 440. We're going back to 450. Okay. So you're reacting off these levels in price action. Okay. See what it's doing here. May want to roll over, come back down, then take it back up. Okay. All right. Those are my sentiments. Let me give some honorable mentions. Palantir still holding strong here. It will cool off at some point. It's starting to get a little bit exhausted up here. You can kind of see that it is grinding its way up, grinding its way up, grinding its way up, but it still has not broken out of this. Now, my short position on Palantir, personally, where I was looking at ultimately, I wanted it to get up into the 70s. Right, that was my marker. Like, okay, like I know it can keep going, but this is getting a little bit ridiculous here, kind of like an SMCI did. Now I'm long term bullish on Palantir, right? But look at what SMCI kind of did, and I'm not comparing it to SMCI, but I'm just saying that as it makes these parabolic moves, right? At some point, you're going to have a little bit of exhaustion, right? But that monthly candle is so strong, and this weekly candle right here, kind of a little bit of a doji, kind of like in between, like, okay, we got some selling here. And you see this RSI, it can disrespect this RSI right here, right? But on a daily up here, there you go. All right. So my mile marker on Palantir for potentially shorting it, or just waiting for the pullback, would be right around that $69 to $70 range. It may want to push up to 70. I've got room up until 75. I'm not in a put position on Palantir. All right, we've got shares, but no, I'd be looking for really this trend to break. That's what I want to see. So if you start to see it roll over and this trend breaks back under here, that's where your entry would be. All right, cool. Any more honorable mentions? Honorable mentions. Got to. How do I forget this? Bitcoin. Okay. Bitcoin bull flagging. It will hit 100K this week, in my opinion. It will hit 100K this week, if not overnight, and we wake up in the morning. Ethereum head towards that 4K mark. That will hit that 4K mark very soon. 39, 40, 4K. Dogecoin still pushing. XRP, Clean Spark, beautiful. I love this hold on Clean Spark right here, right around that $14 level. Okay, to flip and start getting up into the $20 level. So a lot of our community members have Clean Spark, and we've been looking at this to also break out as well. Nice cup, handle, breakout, cupping formation, bull flag, and start retesting these highs at $20 and $25, $30 plus. Okay. MicroStrategy. I love Solana. I absolutely love Solana personally. If it can pull back to 200 or less, that'd be great. But big rejection here on MSTR. I think that is a little bit concerning towards the end of the month. But MSTR, a lot of people have been jumping on the bandwagon. I think it's got more selling pressure personally. And then people will buy up the dip. It's too overextended right now. Okay. Everyone's hyping on the Michael Saylor train, and because MSTR is picking up Bitcoin, they're going to pick up Bitcoin, but it is still a company, right? Just because it's backed by Bitcoin and whatnot, you still have to look at the fundamentals of the company and what they're doing. Okay. Mara, a little bit of selling pressure on the daily here. Nice bullish breakout here of this falling wedge on a monthly. I think Mara personally back to 50 if it can continue. Some honorable mentions that we have called out in our community. Ionic, beautiful. We called out Ionic around $7 here and is up at almost 40. Jeez. All right. Called Ionic at about $7. And if anyone wants any proof, okay, we got our trade ideas, our shares and leaps. Okay. If I scroll all the way back up here to the beginning of the year, there's my Ionic leap position. Okay. We got leaps. And then also I was showing shares. This was January. There's the date, right? Picked those up for January 17, 2025. Went ahead and grabbed a couple leaps on Ionic. So there's our hood leaps. Those did well. And yeah, we talked about picking up shares of Ionic and leaps of Ionic. So amazing call out there. It is in the quantum computing space. All I did was look at the technicals and also had some help from our community members about pointing this out with a partnership with Microsoft, Google, and Amazon very early. So Ionic, pay attention to this on a pullback. This is on a Palantir parabolic move. Dutch Bros, another one of our call outs here, called it out at about $30. You can see here, another shares and leaps. I think I mentioned it back in August or so. There's Ionic, called it out about 10. Okay. Where slowly increase my position. Ionic, potentially next Palantir. That was back in October. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Beautiful. I was gonna show bros, but yeah, I'm not gonna belabor the point here. But you get the picture. Okay, there's our hood leap, did well. So we're looking for those again. Pay attention to Nike. Okay, pay attention to Nike. That's one. Dollar General's another one I'm paying very close attention to. Down here at these levels, starting to get some buyers stepping in right around this $70 to $72 level. I think that could recover really nicely into the next year or so as we start to get some rate cuts and some consumer spending back up. But yeah, Dollar General I think is a steal. Nike starting to hold up down here at around $70, doing some, kind of a Starbucks move. So Nike here got a hammer candle on a monthly. And if we can get a breakout, I've got a golden pocket area of around $84, $85. If we can break out back above 90, I would like it even more. And it would look something like this. If it can break out back into this golden pocket like that, I like Nike personally right back up to 100 plus and retracing and them getting some new, obviously they have a new CEO and new leadership. Hopefully the culture changes a little bit. They get some new innovation, partnerships, things of that nature. But yeah, I can go on this all day. So thank y'all so much. Peace, love, and blessings to you. Have a great trading week. I'll be trading the futures market. I'm working on a combine right now. I will do a series around how that's going for myself. If you want to trade into the prop firm realm, but I've been trading options for a while. And I do believe that options trading, charting, understanding how the economy works does help when you move into, other leveraged opportunities, right? Because you have to know how to trade to understand price action, levels, break of trends, things of that nature. All right. Peace, love, and blessings. Again, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, comment down below how this is helping you, serving you. Join Leverage University. Would love to see you inside, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.